Hey, are you planning to make your move to Green Bay, Wisconsin, but you're curious about what the cost of living is like here in Green Bay in 2025? Well, stay tuned for this video because I'm going to reveal to you what common costs are for renting. And this depends whether it's furnished, whether it's not furnished, the type of rentals that there's available, the cost of housing. I'm going to talk to you about basic costs of life such as transportation, grocery bills, and even miscellaneous stuff like going out to the movies and things like that. So if this is something interests you, make sure you stay to the end because you're not going to believe the prices that you're going to see, especially on the grocery shelves. Let's get started. What's going on, guys? King Jerome, and let's get started with this video. Just like I said in the introduction, we're going to be covering a couple of topics here. I'm going to try to go in depth, so this is going to be the updated cost of living video for 2025. And however this really compares to wherever you live, we're just going to get, right into that. So the first one we're going to talk about is the rental market. I know I recently made a video, and it's on my channel, where I was talking about the rent market, things to look for, and this was in a Schwabenon. And the rental market here, of course, is constantly changing, just like the housing market. And the rates and things like that with property taxes, how they raise, year after year and things like that, it directly affects a lot of rent every single year. So usually there needs to be, I'd have to go look it up exactly how long before a landlord needs to give their renter notice that there's going to be an increase in rent. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, but that does need to happen, and that's why a lot of times you'll see it, year after year. You'll get a letter in the mail, hey, just so you know, next month rent is going to go up so and so amount, whether that's a percentage, whether that's a dollar amount. When I was still renting, that was the case with me, right? So my rent started out at about $900, and then over time, over the 7 years I lived there, it later got to about $1,350 when I finally left and I came to buy this home. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to show you, Let's watch this little quick clip that I recorded. Hey, what's up, guys? So now I'm outside and I'm kind of close to an apartment or a house I used to rent. So actually the one right behind me over here, I used to live here and it's very nice. You have your own backyard in there. I can't really go across in there because of course it's occupied and stuff. But for rent there, I was paying about $1,350 a month when I left. Lived there about 7 years, and it started at about $900, $950. Then it continued on. Prices rose about $100 every single year. Here's another little view real quick. And then from there, it just kept going and going and going. So the biggest thing that affects a lot of rent too are rising property taxes, and I think I was very fortunate. The landlord that I had, that the prices stayed pretty low, but yeah, so by the time I left there, it's about $1,350. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go fast forward this and get to where I live now. Welcome back. So now let's continue on and let's talk about the different types of rentals that you typically will find here in Green Bay. A lot of times you have rentals that you'll find that are in rural areas versus in the city versus the suburbs, right? So in the city itself, I would say if you move and rent downtown, even though the downtown here is not very big at all whatsoever, it's not, but it's expensive because a lot of the homes, not homes, but the apartment buildings that you have right in downtown are usually right on the Fox River, and those are luxury. And a lot of times they may be furnished as well. So there, a lot of times they're luxury furnished apartments, and on average you could be looking at paying about $1,500 to $1,800 a month to live in those places. Granted, that is a lot cheaper than maybe what you guys are paying wherever you're from. For example, out in Massachusetts, where I'm from, in Worcester, I know for a fact my brother personally is paying about $2,500 for a two-bedroom that he's renting out there. And to me, it sounds absurd, but at the same time, I haven't lived in Worcester now going on, I don't know, 15 years. It's been 15 years since I lived in Worcester. So the way things were in 2010 when I left there are a lot different and a lot more expensive than they are now. But Massachusetts alone, and in a lot of bigger cities as well, New York, maybe Pennsylvania, depending where you are, California, things have always been a little expensive, more expensive than of course Wisconsin. But now that I've been here for a while, I think about those prices and I'm like, bro, what? So there's that. Now, if you start going to suburban areas, it's kind of hard to differentiate city versus suburban here in Green Bay because Green Bay is a giant suburb. And I know I've talked about this in a lot of videos, but it's literally a giant suburb. So what you do end up finding a lot of though, it's almost more houses for rent. Houses for rent and a lot of duplexes for rent here. You do have plenty of apartment buildings too, but they are not as common as what you would think. Here it's a lot more residential houses that are for rent. And on average, it depends. It depends where you're living at. And the clip that you just watched of me talking about, where I used to live and stuff, that house was started at 900, and then the price went up because my cat, the first one I got, went up to 950 for like the pet deposit, but then every year it went up by $100. Every single year, price increased by $100, and it'd say the same thing. In the letter, property taxes increased a certain percentage, and now here's this. I at the time didn't know that I could go research it. Maybe I didn't feel or think that it was really something that was negotiable. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, because after the first year I was on a month to month lease, right? There was pretty much no lease. It's month to month. I already did my first year, finished that all up. Now, when we talk about rural, you do have some apartment buildings here and there in rural areas, but they're not very common. They're not very common whatsoever. If you do find them, I think rent prices still are around the same area, right? On average, like all across the board, no matter the type of rental that you have, all across the board, you're usually paying between $700 to about $1,900, right? And that is like the ultimate range for all renting in Green Bay. Because nowadays, renting right now, the way the rates are going, it's about $1.90 per square foot. So if you calculate 1,600 square feet times $1.90, that would be where the market or what a landlord could possibly charge you. A lot of times that's not what they charge you. A lot of times it's a lot lower than that. But of course that changes, just like the market changes, just like interest rates can change as well. Now let's talk about types of rentals. And I know I just talked about that a little bit. So we got a couple condos, not too many, but condos are of course not. It's not an apartment. You don't pay a rent in a condo. You do pay a mortgage like it's a house, but it's a condo. High-end homes like the ones we got on the river, right in downtown, as well as the ones that is in front or literally located inside of Titletown. So it's right inside of walking distance to Lambeau Field, like literally walking distance. So when the whole NFL draft thing starts going on here, you're literally gonna be living in it. You can look out your balcony window, and you'll just see hundreds of thousands of people who all came to watch the draft. That's where you'll have really high-end, a lot newer apartments. Outside of that, you're going to have a lot older apartments as well. And same thing with a lot older housing. A lot of the houses in general, most of the houses here in Green Bay, especially inside of the city center, were all built in around, 1940s era, right? 1930s, 40s, up to like 1980s. That's like the average range of most of these homes. Now, once you start going to the outskirts of Green Bay, and I've done a couple of videos on some of the neighborhoods that kind of surround the outside of it, kind of like the top 5 family-friendly neighborhoods video I did a couple months back. That one is like on the very outskirts, and you'll see a lot of brand new housing, a lot of brand new homes in those areas. But the closer you get in, kind of like in my neighborhood, in the one video I did, like Joanna's Park, you have a lot older homes. Same thing with Wilder Park, a lot older homes, right? Even with Preble, a lot of older homes. not necessarily historic, but they're definitely not brand new, like just built in in 2000 and beyond from that. They're all like prior 1980 or more. What else we got? Modern furnishing versus older apartments. And yeah, I'm just reading off my notes that I got here. And yeah, so modern furnishing, like I was mentioning, you're gonna find those in those high-end apartments. And most of the time, most of these apartments around here and homes, duplexes, none of them are furnished. Most of the time, you have to go and get your own stuff. There are a few companies out here that, in my opinion, can be a little predatory, but I can't lie, I've used them as well. For example, a company called Get It Now, and they used to be, I believe they used to be Rent-A-Center, or they're owned by Rent-A-Center, and I know they're all over the country. But they have Get It Now here as well, and I've used that a few times for a couple things that I needed, like an extra washer or a dryer. Even though I ended up paying almost 3 times the regular price of one, but it was just strictly for the convenience. Now let's talk about the cost of buying a home. Of course, this is a real estate channel, and that's mostly what I talk about, is what it's like relocating here, what's like living here, paying prices, your bills and things like that. So on average, right now, mortgage rates, on average, and of course these things are constantly changing, but for what I'm commonly seeing, the range I'm commonly seeing is between like 6.5 up to like 7.4%. And a lot of times, the newer mortgages and stuff, unless you have excellent credit and you have a huge down payment and things like that, I'm often seeing them getting real close to that 7 number, right, as opposed to down to 6.5. But of course, that's all individual, and that's on a case-by-case basis. And I'm not a mortgage person. I'm only telling you what I've seen with my clients and the people that I work with. A lot of times what their pre-approvals are saying, right? And that's usually the range that I'm seeing that seems to be pretty common. So for me personally, and I know I talked about it as well in the video, and if I didn't, I'll just play it right now just in case I didn't. So now I'm where I live now, and my house, it's a 4-bedroom house, 2 bath. It's about 1,600 square feet. I got a decent sized yard back here. I mean, right now it's covered in snow. Doesn't look all that great right now because, all the snow, but I enjoy it. And the price difference is a little different now, right? Because for me personally, I don't have the greatest credit in the world, but my mortgage was calculated at 6.99%. So what I'm currently paying for my mortgage is almost $1,900 every single month. So about $1,893. So you just round it up to $1,900, and that's what I'm paying. So now, looking at the size of the home, right? 4 bedrooms. That's gonna tie into the next thing I'm gonna talk about soon. And on average, I'm paying about $1,900 a month in my mortgage every single month, and that's not including anything. That's not. I mean, it includes. It does include um, the home insurance and stuff like any mortgage would. It includes the home insurance as well as it escrows my property taxes in there. So even though I could get my property tax bill in the mail, it's not really going to affect me because I'm still making payments to my mortgage, right? But if you have your home paid off, yeah, you got to start paying attention to that, because even if you pay your home off and it just sucks in general, it is what it is. How being behind on property taxes can have the government or the state or the municipality that you live in foreclose on your home that you paid off. Do I think it's ridiculous? Of course I do, but it's one of those things that there's not much I can do about, or really any of us. So, what's the biggest comparison between renting and buying cost-wise? Cost-wise, it's a lot cheaper to rent. I will say that. It's a lot cheaper to rent. But at the same time, since interest rates and property taxes are steadily climbing, rent is starting to slowly creep up to around the same amount where your mortgage will be. Now, the biggest thing, that I was told when I first bought my house, because, me personally, I have to work a few jobs, because even just my firefighting job alone is not going to cover all my bills, unfortunately, and that is just the the time we live in, right? And with inflation and stuff, it just is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. What was I just about to say? So, one thing I was told by a coworker of mine once is that, yeah, right now it might suck, the thought of you paying this amount of money towards your mortgage, but think about it, in about a couple years from now, you'll be making more money, and your payment is going to be capped. It's going to be stopped at that amount. It's not going to go beyond that, right? Because most people get a fixed rate mortgage. So if your payments are $2,000, right now it might seem like a lot. But who's to say that, in 3 years, mortgage rates go up to 8, 9%? Because I'm pretty sure it was in the eights around there back in the 90s. It was only between like 2008 during the crash and a little bit during COVID time and that area where you're really seeing mortgage rates drop down, 4, 3, 2%, and then I really think that we're kind of going back into what was deemed normal before with mortgage rates. But again, I'm not a mortgage guy, so this is just my own speculation. So that was the big thing he told me to remember. That, yeah, right now it might seem like it's really expensive, but wait a couple years and you'll see how much more things are starting to cost. And I've only been living in this house now for a year, and I'm already starting to see other prices and mortgage rates, not just mortgage rates, but what mortgages are, what they're calculated out to be for clients of mine, are much higher than mine, and for possibly the same size home or even smaller sometimes. So I am thankful about that, but it still sucks. It still sucks. Like, it would have been perfect to buy, during like 2018, 2017, 18, 19. That would have been like the best time to buy. But it is what it is. The second best time to buy is now, right? Because if things keep going up, at least you'll stay there. If things start dropping down and you get better credit, or if you already have great credit, you can always refinance and it goes back down. The biggest thing I learned about refinancing, me personally, and see, this is gonna be one of the last rabbits I go chase, is that it'll restart your amortization rate, right? So if you ever look at the chart with mortgage rates, and it shows how little you pay towards principal, and a lot bigger chunk you pay towards interest. And as you go further down the line, you start paying a lot more towards principal and a lot less towards interest. Whenever you refinance, the whole thing restarts. And that's how I've always understood it. It sounds great, and sometimes it's necessary, especially if you gotta catch up on some bills and things like that to refinance. But in the long run, you might end up paying a lot more than you originally were going to. And again, this is not advice, but this is just my own speculation and my own experience and the things that I learned that I am sharing with you guys. Now, quick break. Before we continue with this video, are you planning to move to Green Bay, but you're overwhelmed with the amount of things that you need to get done? You're not sure what things need to be done right now, and what things can be pushed off for a little bit. Well, I got something for you. My Green Bay relocation guide, which I finally finished, is now here. And in this guide, I break down things you need to do 3 to 6 months before you move here, such as making sure you know which neighborhood you want to go live in, having a plan, knowing what utilities you're going to use, 2 to 4 months, which shows which moving companies you need to have down and things like that. Make sure you download it. On one of these sides, you're going to see a QR code. Scan that QR code, and right there is going to take you to my link tree, which is going to be the link to download that guide, and it's also going to be in the description below if you are watching this on your phone. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and make sure you send this to somebody who is planning to move to Green Bay and you see that they look pretty overwhelmed. Now let's get back to the video. All right, welcome back, guys, and hopefully you went and got that relocation guide. And just like I talked about in that video, it's going to break down a lot of stuff for you for things that you need to have in place as you're making your move. I am currently actually working on a new guide, and it's pretty much the cost of living breakdown that you can download. And if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you comment down below that you'd like a copy of my cost of living breakdown sheet that I'm currently that's under development right now. So once that's available, I will email that to you and give you notification about it. So now let's continue on to the next thing, and let's talk about some daily expenses, right? Some daily expenses. Let's first talk about entertainment cost, right? Entertainment, because of course nobody wants to just constantly work just to pay bills, then go to sleep, eat, do the same thing over again, because you're just going to drive yourself insane. Even though it is necessary in the economy that we live in right now, that, for example, for me, I have to work a few other jobs besides real estate. I do firefighting full time, then I still got a couple part-times I have to supplement my income in order to pay for what I got to pay for, right? But at the same time, I still want to be able to entertain myself. I personally am a big fan of going to the movie theater. I'm very thankful that the movie theaters and stuff have started to push people to come back to physically watch movies in the movie theaters, and not just constantly keep putting things out on Netflix, Hulu, all the streaming services, new movies that just come out, to put it on there where people can just watch it from home. Even though, yeah, that's cool and stuff, but that was, pulling away from people physically attending the movie theater. And I just like the atmosphere. For me, it's about the experience, not necessarily always about, make sure this is nice and plugged in. It's not necessarily always about watching it from home, because I don't want to do that. So on average, movie tickets can cost about, between $15 and $17 per person. It also depends on the type of seats that you get, because here we have, in Green Bay, it's the same thing with Appleton, we have one movie theater chain called Marcus Cinemas. And there they have, you have your regular stadium seats, but then you also have these recliner seats, you know, that they call dream loungers in there. And a lot of times when you book a movie in there, it's a smaller theater, but it's also a little bit of a higher price. I I typically enjoy it because I feel like I have a lot more space in there, and the arm in between, if you're with a date or something like that, you can lift it up, and now it's like a love seat, you know. So I personally enjoy going to the Dream Lounger uh, movie rooms and stuff like that to watch my favorite movies. Now, a really cool thing that they do here at Marcus Cinemas, every Tuesday is $5 movie Tuesday. So pretty much any movie is going to be $5 except the ones that just came out, right? So if you're waiting for a new movie to premiere, and as soon as, say it comes out this Friday, and when Tuesday comes around, that movie's not going to be $5. They're still going to charge for that specific movie the regular uh, purchase price from any other day of the week. Now, say if you wait maybe 2 3 weeks after the release date, then it's going to be about $5. But trying to get it for $5 on the same weekend it releases is probably not going to happen. It'll happen for other movies and stuff, but not for ones that just freshly premiere, right? So with that, I also like to go out and eat. So I have a video on my channel that I did a couple months back where I went to this Indian restaurant, and I love eating Indian food, right? To me, it's delicious, and I usually order two of everything, right? So when we go, I already know how much everything is going to cost for me because we always order the same thing. I always order the same thing, you know, and I order two of everything. So with tip and everything, my bill is usually about $70 or so, somewhere around there, just for two of us. Of course, that's going to depend on the type of restaurant you go to. I like to go there, you know, I get nice and full. For me, it's a very good portion of food. Now, there are higher end restaurants like Stella's, and that's like an Italian restaurant. It's a high end one. You have another high end restaurant called Chives, and those can be a lot more expensive, of course, because they're more upscale restaurants, right? But a lot of times for me, it's not when it comes to a restaurant, it's not so much, I guess, the environment or the atmosphere. I just really like the food. Now, when it comes to the movie theater, for me, it's different. I love the atmosphere of the movie theater, and that is me personally. So there's other entertainment options here as well. There's a bowling alley. I know I did a video about that as well. You can find it on my channel. Things are decently cheap. They have a bar in there now as well, and you can always go check that out if you're into bowling. There's a few other activities around here. With restaurants, I will say that Green Bay is pretty limited. You will find Mexican restaurants literally like at every corner you turn here in Green Bay. There's going to be a Mexican restaurant. You got a couple Chinese food restaurants. Two of them are pretty cool because one took over a Burger King and the other one took over a Sonic, so they have the drive-through. So it's drive-through Chinese food, and that's delicious. You also have drive-through Mexican food, and I'm talking about authentic Mexican food, not just Taco Bell or Qdoba or I can't even remember the other one that's more popular. The name of it is just escaping my mind right now. But with this one, it's called Fast Taco. They have those in the Fox Valley as well. And my personal favorite is one just in Green Bay. It's called Maldonado's. And we just go there. I might pay like $15 for like a monstrous sized burrito. And man, like I usually finish all my food, but that one, a lot of times, it gives me a good run for my money. So sometimes I might not even be able to, you know, finish it. So let's talk about the next thing on this list. Um, but yeah, so as I close that part out, you know, even with other entertainment things, watching sports, NFL tickets, on average, you know, maybe $100 $200 a ticket, you know. But then you have indoor football league. I know I've talked about that before, the Green Bay Blizzard. If you ever want to watch that, that's usually about $17 a person. Same thing with hockey. The Green Bay hockey team, Green Bay Gamblers, it's about the same price as well per person. And they do a lot of events at the Resch Center, um, and the Resch Center, and a lot of concerts at the Epic Event Center as well. A lot of that's going to come to light or come to the public eye during the NFL draft because they just redid all of that stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool area to be in to go, take advantage and stuff. Next one is going to be what's the prices of transit stuff. I'll talk about transportation. So let's start with busing, right? So one of the videos I did before, I had my information a little incorrect with how often the buses come. So buses actually come here about 4 times an hour, right? So it's a lot more believable, I guess I would say. 4 times an hour, the buses on each bus route will actually show up. So I got some prices here for you. So for a one-way ticket, right, like a one-way ride, you're looking at $2. Yeah, $2. If you're looking for a day pass, on only one bus line, it's going to be $4. Now, for a weekly pass for an adult, you're looking at $16. If you want a 30-day pass for an adult, that's $41. Now, if you're a student, and that's K through 12, and you have your student ID, that same 30-day pass is going to be $28. And that is if you're busing. Now, with gas, I did a little quick video about the cost of gas and stuff. So let's go look at that real quick. Hey guys, so let's talk about gas prices. So gas prices here, they're not too terrible, but as you can see right here, you got the prices. There's the price of gas right now. And for diesel, price of diesel, 3.6. So of course, you know me, I'm gonna get my regular, because that's just what I put in my truck. Let's get it go. Now that I got this going, let's look how this is running up. And look, Feral Gas. I talked about Feral Gas before. If you guys drive a Class B truck, that's an option for you. Great company in this area, Feral Gas. There are some places here like Fleet Farm that they do sell things like kerosene in it, but that's all up to you guys. And yeah, so let's get back to the studio. Now let's talk about utility bills. So with utility bills, I have a little screen share that I did with my electric bill, and this is usually what it looks like. Now, if I turn around and you'll see the difference. Actually, let me screen record this real quick so I can show you guys. 3, 2, 1. All right, there we go. So right here, you can see, and I'm gonna have this on the side of the screen, what my monthly usage is like, right? So you can see you got yellow and blue bars. So yellow is gonna be electricity, and blue is gonna be natural gas. The pricing in this right now, it's usually about $250, $300 that I typically pay per month, right? With this, you can see in the summer months like July, when it's usually the hottest, you have electricity just skyrocketing, right? And mind you, this is like a 16 square foot house. So this is also gonna depend where you live. And then also in during the colder months, so like January and February are our colder months, you see natural gas do the same thing. It starts to go through the roof. The pricing with this, I know I just said it, both electricity and gas are included in the same price. All right, so right now you can see my account balance is pretty high right now. I gotta go fix that ASAP. But that is that. So let me go to my water bill now. Let's go to my water bill. And this is a thing with the water bill that I was talking about a little earlier in my little clip when I came into the house. And as you can see right here, let me see if I can even zoom in. Actually, let's view the latest one, February 10th, 290. And as you can see, they drastically keep going up a little more every single time. And this is what sucks about it, right? Of course you have public fire protection, and me, of course, being a firefighter, I understand this, right? $8, and that comes out every single water bill. But this is what got me. So water usage, okay, $61, but then the sewer usage, $108, and the sewer service charge. So you get charged for using the sewer and how much you put into the sewer, and that is what sends my what I owe just through the roof, And honestly, it just sucks. It just sucks. So that's what you will typically what you should expect to be paying when it comes to your utilities. Again, mind you, this is all dependent on the size of your home. So if you're in a small apartment, you might be looking at a bill of maybe not even close to that, maybe 100, 150 tops, but now if you start getting into a larger place, you might be paying a little more, and it depending how much you use it. I got kids, they all like to sit and play video games all day, so it's using up the electricity. Not only that, with the water bill, I also have the washer and dryer going all the time because we're constantly doing laundry as well, right? So that also accounts for why that may be so expensive the way it is. So here in my house, right? So at home, I have 5 kids. So this is now where it's going to affect a lot of, my energy cost. So, hold on. Here's my cat, Pepper. I call her Princesa. Here's my other cat. She doesn't like me very much. She tries to stay away. This is my liability dog, Jake. Jake, come here. Come here. Yeah, he can, black lab mixed with Rottweiler. And he can be very, very aggressive towards other people, but he's gotten a lot better, right? Give me a high five. Give me a high five. Okay, you just want me to scratch your butt. All right. So back to the video. And one more for the video. Petey. This is my Australian Shepherd, Petey. He likes to herd my backyard chickens that I have, and they help a lot with cost of groceries. My chickens do, but yeah. So with all these kids here, and the bathrooms, it's constant flushing, right? So you're gonna see, if I haven't shown you already, what the cost of my water bill usually is, and it caught me off guard too, because I always thought the water bill was strictly how much water I'm using that I'm bringing into the property, but I never took into account the fact that a lot of it, the big chunk of that water bill, is what's going out. And now, finally, the last thing I'm going to talk about, and I know you guys were waiting on, is the current price in groceries right now. So let's talk about grocery prices, and check out this video that I did about the groceries at the grocery store, and I'm going to show you some prices that we got for basic things. Let's check out the bread. So that's what you're looking at for bread. Let's go find some meat and then some eggs and milk as well, so you guys get Now let's check out some meat over here. Some burger meat. So we got for some pricing. Angus beef for that. Now let's go look at eggs and milk, the other essentials that we need. So, for a gallon of milk, we go $3.57 gallon of milk. I don't need milk right now, but up and here's the big one. Eggs. This is the most expensive you might find. So yeah, that's groceries right now here in Green Bay. Welcome back, guys. So as you guys already know, the reason prices of eggs are so high right now, and if I'm not mistaken, a lot of egg layers, hens, were killed during COVID and stuff like that. So, you know, replenishing them is what's going to take time. And when there's enough, then, you know, the prices of eggs are going to start going down. But there's really no way to force the price of eggs to go down when there's just not enough egg-laying hens out there, you know, to mass produce the way that we've all been used to all this time. I personally have chickens myself, and only 1 or 2 of them are laying right now. And I mean, I got them chickens just for entertainment, but now they're laying eggs. I'm like, it's pretty cool. But that's something that a lot of people are starting to turn towards. And I do see the prices of those going down eventually, but for the time being, we can't rush, you know, the growth of a hen to start laying eggs, you know, overnight. Like it's just not going to happen. When it happens, it's going to happen, you know, and then you're going to start seeing those prices go down. So I hope you found this video very helpful. I hope it gave you a pretty good understanding of what the cost of living is like here in Green Bay in 2025. And I want to remind you guys that I'm going to put up my QR code right here. I want to remind you that I have people just like you reaching out to me literally every single day, whether it's through phone call, whether it's through email, and they're coming to me with the same questions that you guys are having and how they can get their move started here in Green Bay. So I want to encourage you to reach out to me, whether it's a question, whether it's a concern, whether you're curious about what things are like, or even if it's a simple question. I promise you, it's not a bother to me. I actually enjoy it. So reach out to me. Make sure you scan the QR code. In this QR code, you're also going to see the relocation guide that I talked about. Not only that, like I mentioned earlier in this video, I'm starting to work on the Green Bay cost of living worksheet, or PDF. And that's going to appear also in this link as well. So when you scan it with your QR code, if you're watching this on a TV, on a computer, you could just scan it with your phone. If you're watching this video on your phone, you just go down to the link. The link is either going to be for relocation guide or booking an appointment. It's all going to point you to the same place. It's going to be to a link tree, and right there you can find all the information, all my information, where you can just click and download to view my contact information. You can download it to your phone, you could text me, call me. I promise you it's not a bother. And if I don't pick up your phone call right away, I'm going to text you back, or I'm at least going to give you a call back as soon as I can. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it very helpful for you. Please let me know if there's anything else that you guys would like me to do videos on. I know one of my viewers requested a little more in-depth video of the cost of living. So I hope this was pretty helpful for you guys as well. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.